Hey, great, actually, great day. Very good day. Wonderful day. Got great news today. Can't say what. I wish it was financial news. It's not. It's better news than that. Much better. Although I do wish it was that too, because you know, just one of those months. But I'm in jolly good spirits. All the financial woes aside, waiting for these people to pay me. Ridiculous. One guy, I don't even want to say it. Ugh. I won't say who it is, but like, it was a film job that I did, like 3 months ago. I think maybe, yeah, it's like 3 months, and that's supposed to be like generally in our industry like 15 days. You get like maybe 30 if you're generous, like, which I am. Way over, man. Way over the line. And I keep trying to get the guy to pony up. And it sucks because I brought a buddy on for this job, and I paid him out of my pocket because I knew these guys were like this. A little slow when it came to like getting the money out. And I didn't want to have someone that I brought in, especially last minute too. It was like literally 12, maybe 13-hour notice or something. And, bring him in. I don't want to have someone who's kind of done me a favor like that, in a sense, left out to dry because the guy that I've hooked the job up with is like being a dick, right? So I basically had him as like a subcontractor under me, and I paid him. I paid him his $600. So I am thus far just out money. I've lost money on this. It's really fucking infuriating. Pardon my French. It's so infuriating. People just jerking your chain and like not. It's just insane, It sucks. Let me. I gotta pull up Rumble. Yeah. And then the other company that I've been doing the AV work for is just, they haven't done anything wrong at this point. They're just their terms are 30 days. Like they take 30 days from the day that they're invoiced, and that's just how it works. So it hasn't been 30 days yet. We'll see. Hopefully they're good about it, because I need that money like really badly at this point. Desperately. Let's see. Let me pop my share up. Good. Yeah, I know, right? Yeah, Steph says, how does it get by without paying you? If I don't pay my staff, my butt would be in trouble. It's contracting world. Like, just, I don't know. I'm sure it's different depending on the industry you're in, but this is far from a unique experience in film world. Based on, well, friends, unfortunately. I mean, it's not like a regular thing either, but it does happen, like, and it blows. usually it's like one of those situations where like you are waiting for payment from someone else who is waiting for payment from someone else who is waiting from payment from Fox News, or something like that. So I guess what can you do? I suppose I could start charging him interest. If you want to serve formal notice on Deadbeat, contact me. Will do. Yeah, it sucks, man. It does. I actually kind of have 76 Red Pill says call him up with fake AI voice and go pay me. You know what? That's on my to-do list, is asking AI for maybe some unique ideas for how to extract payment from an uncooperative fucker that owes you money. Like, yeah. I suppose that's the next step, is court. Yeah. I mean, I'm being generous enough to give it like a 30-day kind of late period or whatever, but I think we're either up on that point or past it by now. Actually, I think like just past it. So I think it was back in March I did the job. So yeah, I'm gonna hit him up one more time, and I guess if that doesn't work, my God, it's such a pain in the ass though. Like, you have to like sue him and like go to court and fuck that. Sucks, but I want that money, so. Ridiculous. It's crazy. All right, let's get going. Oh, we're frozen. Okay, now we're good. Let me see if I have anything to add. I don't know. I've been kind of busy today. Oh, yeah, I did. Yep, that's right. Disclosure's final trailer is out. It looks creepy, man. Looks good, too. Looks really good. And also really, really creepy. Like, disturbingly.
I can see you. I am much more inclined now than I was when I made Close Encounters to really believe that we're not the only intelligent civilization in the universe.
What did you steal?
Secrets. People have a right to know the truth. This is a story about us. All of us.
Good morning, Kansas City.
Up against the most extraordinary event in human history.
What's happening to me? And I'm frightened out of my wits.
You don't need to be. You have someone else.
Daniel Callan!
Who is this?
Do not go back to the house. They found you. I don't know who you are, but they're gonna kill you.
The human race cannot accept what we know. We need to stop it any way we can.
What do I do? This 79-year cover-up of the truth.
70. I wonder when the movie takes place. 79 years. Can't math. 50. If it takes place contemporarily, I guess it would be like 40. Almost, it might be 47. It might be Roswell. Or am I off by a decade there?
We're interrupting our coverage.
How will disclosure change us? I believe for the better. It will remind us of our capacity for empathy, and that there is something bigger out there than just ourselves.
The only way to know your purpose is to go back to where it all began. I know you.
I know you do. What happened to us?
I used to say to myself, wouldn't it be wonderful if all of this turned out to be true? I'm now thinking, wouldn't it be wonderful for people to know all of this is true?
Really leaning into it, man. I don't blame him. It's free marketing. Like all the alien obsessed hordes out there will just flip over that quote now, and like this will be the most talked about movie in like a decade.
Disclosure Day.
It does look quite good, though. It does look. I look forward to the Spielberg flick most of the time. All gayness aside, and typical Hollywood faggotry and so on and so forth. He makes a good movie. He does. What is this? Trump DOJ now. Oh yeah, this is a big deal right here. Trump DOJ now moving to question Fulton County election workers from the 2020 election.
Where in Fulton County, Georgia, some poll workers and ballot counters from the 2020 presidential election.
Oh boy, we're getting an echo probably on YouTube.
Could soon hear a knock on their doors. Federal prosecutors say when they have the names and the addresses of those election workers, investigators will try to talk to them. President Trump has long claimed without evidence that there was widespread voter fraud in Fulton County, and that contributed to his re-election loss to Joe Biden. Let's go live right now to CNN crime and justice correspondent Caitlin Polantz, who's working the story for us. Caitlin, is the Justice Department going to get all these lists of election workers and their addresses?
Yes.
Well, Wolf, that's going to be the big question in court. We're still waiting to see what a judge will do. What has happened here is that the Justice Department, they've made clear they want to reopen and ask questions again about what happened in the 2020 election, especially in Fulton County, Georgia. That's the county that includes Atlanta, that Joe Biden won by more than 2/3 of the more than 500,000 votes there. It was a real wash of an election for Biden there. But Trump really does want to continue to say that the 2020 election was rigged. And now the Justice Department, they're going after thousands of names and addresses of these 2020 election workers. At a hearing last week, that was where the judge was hearing about why the Justice Department actually may want these things. This election happened 6 years ago. That's out of the time frame where the Justice Department could bring voting-related federal criminal charges if they even would get to that point with a grand jury. And a prosecutor there, his name is Will McComb, he said, "We are not sure what charges can be brought." And then he told the judge, "We don't know what they will tell us as far as what happened or what improprieties may or may not have happened in the 2020 election, and whether that is a continuing situation in this current election cycle or in the next election cycles for the Fulton County Board." But what the Justice Department is also saying is they just want to go out, knock on doors, potentially interview these ballot workers and poll workers. The judge, though, is looking at this. Is it a fishing expedition? And is this way too broad of a request? We're waiting to see what happens in this federal court proceeding. Wolf?
And as you know, Caitlin, the Southern Poverty Law Center is accusing the U.S. Justice Department of what they're calling vindictive prosecution.
Oh boy. Okay, was that it? Oh yeah. Creepy Sam on what's his name? Am I drawing a blank? on his name, Theo Vaughn. Sam Altman went on Theo Vaughn's podcast. I haven't watched it yet, but I have seen some interesting clips.
And on say we're able to
This being one of them.
get to that space, right? Like the movement that happens with AI and with just technology.
I love Theo. I do. He's I love his, since what everyone loves about Theo, but you know, his just total naivete and just, you know, him, his thing.
And it's quicker, I think, which is one thing that
It puts people at ease, I think, and curious to see what he gets out of Altman.
it feels like to me it's a fast forward button on technology and on possibility, because information can be quantified so quick, and a lot of like more menial tasks, even though they're not really menial in people's lives, but menial hypothetically can be done quicker to get a lot of the framework for things done fast. But how will people survive? Like, how do we adjust our structure of if some people own the companies that have the AI, and then a lot of people are just using the AIs and the agents created by AIs to do things for them. How will society, like societal members, still be able to financially survive? Will there still be money? What is that? Does that make any sense, that question?
It totally makes sense.
Okay, sorry.
I don't know. Neither does anybody else, but I'll tell you my current best guess.
Okay.
Well, I'll say two guesses. One, I think it is possible that we put, you know, GPT-7 or whatever in everybody's ChatGPT. Everybody gets it for free, and everybody has access to just this like crazy thing, such that everybody can be more productive, make way more money. It doesn't actually matter that you don't like own the cluster itself, but everybody gets to use it. And it turns out even getting to use it is enough that people are like getting richer faster and more distributed than ever before. That could happen. I think that really is possible. There's another version of
Thus far, already is happening.
this where the most important things that
But to who is the question? It's only happening to a very select few right now.
are happening are these systems are discovering, you know, new cures for diseases, new kinds of energy, new ways to make spaceships, whatever. And most of that value is accruing to the like cluster owners, us, just so that I'm not dodging the question here. And then I think society will very quickly say, okay, we got to have some new economic model where we share that and distribute.
An AI cluster owner is an individual or entity, corporation, responsible for the design, deployment, management, and ongoing maintenance of an AI compute cluster, a data center, or multiple data centers.
Got to have some new economic,
or even decentralized compute, which is now also a thing. Like, I can take my GPU in my computer, right? Big, it's hiding behind my monitor, but a big freaking brick right there. You can take that thing and rent it out online by the hour for, I forget what mine would go for, but it's something like, I don't know, like 80 cents an hour or something. So you can make like $20 a day if you don't use it at all, minus the power that it ends up spending, which is a little bit, a few bucks. But there are these websites where you can go, like, sign up and basically rent your GPU out remotely to anyone that wants to use it for AI work. You know, if they want to use it to like crunch a bunch of data, if they're doing like work at a university on some kind of machine learning experiment or something, they can rent your GPU for the evening and, you know, bust out a bunch of data. So, or you can rent like multiple, like a whole cluster of them, like a whole bunch. So it's not even just like a strictly centralized data center thing. The decentralized stuff is really interesting.
model where we share that and distribute that to people. I used to be really excited about things like UBI. I still am kind of excited, like universal basic income, where you just give everybody money.
Yeah, you hear that term a lot. Yeah, universal basic income. Yeah, I heard you and Rogan talk about that too a while back.
I still am kind of excited about that, but I think people really need agency. Like they really need to feel like they have a voice in
You're just now getting that, Sam?
governing the future and deciding where things go. And I think if you just like say, okay,
Yeah, I don't know why I'm catching that echo from him. For YouTube. I'm sorry, YouTube. Let me try and fix it. Check my filters. Are you not working and doing your job?
AI is going to do everything, and then everybody gets like a, dividend from that. It's not going to feel
a little bit
good, and I don't think it actually would be good for people. So I think we need to find a way where we're not just like, if we're in this world where we're not just distributing money or wealth. Like actually, I don't just want like a check every month. What I would want is like a ownership share in whatever the AI creates, so that I feel like I'm participating in this thing that's going to compound and get more valuable over time. So I sort of...
Isn't that just like a different way of saying the same thing? I mean,
like universal basic wealth better than universal basic income. And I think I don't like basic either. I want like universal extreme wealth.
Fuck, paid some fucking marketing team to come up with that
for everybody. But even
it's still echoing, man. I don't know why. It was working so good for like a few days. I don't know. You know what? Let me try. I'm gonna try unloading my model here, my local model, sucking up my GPU. So that might solve the problem. You try like disabling the filters and putting them back on, switching them out.
Then, like, I think what people really want is the agency to kind of co-create the future together. And in a world where it's like the AI is mostly coming up with the new scientific inventions, at least we've got to still have humans like invent the new culture and have that be a very distributed thing.
Okay, I get.
This is only happening because they're coming up for an IPO. Like they're about to go public, basically, and they don't want people freaking out.
So, yeah, I see what you're saying, but
I will admit that selling it to people as how did he put it?
Create the future. That's sort of like universal basic wealth.
Universal basic wealth. That's probably going to resonate a lot better with people than universal basic income. And just like from a logical point of view, I suppose it actually kind of does sort of make sense. Like AI is basically effectively like the sum of all human knowledge and work and like everything we've ever done, basically. Coding, art, literature, mathematics, science, it's all law, contracts, it's all in there. And we've all contributed to that in some way. I don't know that maybe it could be measured. I'm not really sure. Not sure how much value there would even really be in doing so, but we've all definitely contributed, at least those of us who have participated on social media and the like big time. So I suppose if you're going to sell this to people, that's probably the way to sell it. I'm not saying I'm on board because but like from a logical standpoint, I guess it kind of like it certainly makes more sense than universal basic income, just as a term, I guess.
Better than universal basic income. And I think I don't like basic either. I want like universal extreme wealth.
Yeah, I agree. All night 3071 says Theo's way over his head in this chat. Yeah. All the same, I want to listen to the whole thing because I'm really curious how a probable sociopath, like almost certainly sociopath like Sam Altman, kind of lets his defenses down around someone like that. Kind of see what slips out.
But even then, like, I think what people really want is the agency to kind of co-create the future together. And
it is true. It's what's been lacking in. I mean, it's in the end, I guess, what most people are pissed about is loss of agency, lack of agency. In the case of the right wing in America, the flyover states, absolutely. Younger generations.
in a world where it's like the AI is mostly coming up with the new scientific inventions, at least we've got to still have humans like invent the new culture and have that be a very distributed thing.
Okay, I guess yeah.
Wait, say that again.
Coming up with the new scientific inventions, at least we've got to still have humans like invent the new culture and have that be a very distributed thing.
Huh. Okay.
Okay, I guess
Curious what he means by that.
Yeah, I see what you're saying, but would that be like an American thing, do you think? Like since they were invented here, or do you think, I'm just wondering, what does that look like, you know?
The economic model
Excellent question, Theo. Good. It was actually a very, very good question.
of it all, or the whole thing?
Yeah, or is there a dividend of the company?
Yeah, explain like I'm 5, Sam. Come on.
Company that's then is divided up between the masses, sort of?
I mean, a crazy idea, but in the spirit of crazy ideas, is that if the world, there's like roughly 8 billion people in the world, if the world can generate like 8 quintillion tokens per year, if that's the world, or actually, let's say the world can generate 20 quintillion tokens per year.
I gotta math that. Okay, go on. How many is that per person?
Tokens of
Like each word generated by an AI.
Okay.
Just making up a
Is
huge.
roughly 1 token, just a little bit off. I forget which way, but it's close to a token per word.
Number here.
Okay.
We'll say, okay, 12 of those go to, the normal capitalistic system, but 8 of those, 8 quintillion tokens are going to get divided up equally among 8 billion people. So everybody gets 1 trillion tokens. And
1 trillion
that's your kind of universal
per how often?
basic wealth globally. And people can sell those tokens. Like if I don't need mine, I can sell them to you. We could pool ours to.
Wait, bro. 20 quintillion divided by 8 billion is 2.5 billion, not trillion. You're a little off there, my friend. Wow, the super genius can't math, I guess.
Together for some like new art project we want to do, but instead of just like getting a check, everybody on Earth is getting like
unless my calculator's wrong.
Slice of the world's AI capacity, and then we're letting the like massively distributed human ingenuity and creativity and economic engine do its thing. I mean, that's like a crazy idea. Maybe it's a bad one, but that's the kind of thing that I think sounds.
Funny enough, I was looking at how many tokens I use today. I was looking just because I was curious, like how heavily subsidized my usage is. Like, if I were paying this like for real through the API route, which is like the API, which is what like enterprise, any kind of corporation, company, small business would use, rather than like a personal account, which is what I'm using now. Like, what's the difference? Because you pay 100, 200 a month. Like, how much are you actually getting for that? If you use the full extent of that allotted 200, like your full limits, which I do. I use them all. I am literally sitting at 96% spent for this week with 10 hours to spare. I'll hit the limit in a few hours. So I gotta pull up my thing again, because the math was pretty interesting. I don't have it in front of me here, but like it was roughly like $1,500 a month. Like that's what I'm actually using, and actually more than that, because that's not accounting for the prompt processing tokens. Like there's the tokens that you send out from, the messages that you type and send, and then the ones that come back, which are more expensive. I didn't factor in the ones that I send out, which is probably gonna add another 20-30% or so on top of that. So it's like $2,000 a month. That's how heavily subsidized it is right now. And some of that is from other people that are paying for the $200 a month but aren't using all of it. So it's partially padded by that. But the other part of it is all the people that don't check the boxes saying don't use all of my data to train your models. Like this is really valuable data. Like if you're feeding all your data to them and allowing them to train on it, it's obviously worth quite a bit to them. So they're subsidizing it because of that too. I uncheck all those boxes though, as should all of you. Yeah, it's pretty crazy. Like you can get $2,000 more. I mean, even more actually if you're smarter. I'm really kind of sloppy about my token game. There are ways to like really slim up your usage, and like it's actually hilarious. Most of you should actually get a kick out of this, even if you're not a tech AI nerd. But one of the methods that that is used to make these things trim down on their token usage is by programming them just like through a prompt, like a system prompt, which is just like you just type in a couple sentences in a configuration file, telling it to always think like a caveman. So always think in like the absolute simplest terms possible, without, like, you tell it not to don't go so far with it that you start losing out on meaning and context, and but use really simple words, cut off unnecessary words, like say me go store instead of I'm going to go to the store down the street, right? And it cuts the token usage like in half or more. I've got to try that one. That's been suggested quite a bit to me. It's apparently it actually works, which is hilarious. You just make it think like a retard, and it starts spending less money. It's fantastic. Okay, we did that. Let's go on to the main pile here. Do. Yeah, look at this. Hold on. Claude Code. Caveman. Why use mini token? That's great. Why use mini token when few do trick? I did try it like a couple times just to see how it worked in normal conversation, and it conveys meaning quite well as a caveman. Like you'd be surprised what kind of ideas it can get across when talking as a caveman. And I found it actually like really useful for like explaining really complex concepts that I was working on with the thing that I'm building. Like like super complex coding concepts that I don't like have a grasp of yet. I told it to like explain it to me. Well, first I started with explain it to me like I'm 10. Then I tried like I'm 5, and that didn't quite do it. So I tried, okay, try it like we're cavemen, and it legit, like, it worked. I got it. It was amazing. Blew my mind. Yeah, the caveman skills are everywhere. Okay, let's see. Whee! Okay, that's into yesterday. We'll pick up round about there.
In agreement between details in a.
Oh yeah, the cabinet meeting. What was that? That was today, right? What happened?
An agreement between the United States and Iran are still being discussed, but tension across the region has certainly decreased. There is hope right now about reaching some sort of deal that would avert a return to war, but also address Iran's nuclear program and open the Strait of Hormuz. Regional officials say that implementation of an agreement is even more important than what is written in a possible deal.
I think there's strong alignment and agreement on what a preliminary draft should look like. I think that, like anything with something like this, it's going to take a couple days to settle on, even down to the disagreements over a word, a sentence. So we'll have to work through that. If there's going to be a deal, we're going to have to work through that. But this is, it's either going to be a good deal or there isn't going to be one.
We're also tracking the conflict between Israel and the Lebanese militant group Hezbollah. An Israeli official told Fox News that preparations are underway for the upcoming meeting in Washington on Thursday that will formally mark the start of the military-to-military channel between Israel and Lebanon. The official added that Iran hopes the broader ceasefire will undermine the current efforts between Israel and Lebanon aimed at weakening Hezbollah. Overnight, the IDF launched a series of airstrikes in southern Lebanon as ground forces are advancing deeper into Hezbollah territory.
Under my direction.
Nope, cut off. Iranian State TV has published what it claims is a new draft of a proposal for peace with the U.S.
Now, there are a number of points in new this hour. Iran's state TV is putting out what it claims is a draft of the initial framework with the U.S. Now, there are a number of points in here that appear to be very out of step with a lot of the U.S. red lines. So take this information with a very large grain of salt. But Iran is claiming.
Interesting. Okay.
That the memorandum of understanding would have the U.S. withdraw forces and lift the naval blockade in exchange for Iran restoring commercial traffic through the Strait of Hormuz within a month, with all ship traffic managed by Iran. They further claim if a deal is reached, it would become binding with a UN Security Council resolution. We have heard no updates from the U.S. side, but the White House has repeatedly pushed back on premature reports and inaccurate reports.
Yeah, it doesn't sound right.
It's about what these discussions entail. This is new from Iran today, so likely we'll hear some response from the White House. But today the president is set to meet with his cabinet to discuss all of this after scrapping plans to convene at Camp David due to bad weather, the same place where he convened his cabinet last year just before bombing Iran's nuclear sites. The stakes are very high. Iran accused the U.S. of a grave violation of the ceasefire after CENTCOM carried out what it described as defensive strikes on missile launch sites and Iranian boats trying to lay mines. Iran vowed to respond, and all of this was just days after the president announced a deal to end the war was largely negotiated. Iran is demanding, apparently, $24 billion in frozen funds to agree to all of this.
The frozen money. Okay, yeah. Right.
Prompting concern from lawmakers about emboldening Iran, and also prompting a response from President Trump, who's pushing back against anyone who doubts his ability to make a good deal. Last night, Vice President Vance spoke to NBC about these negotiations in a call. He described himself as extremely hopeful, but said, quote, "I think the more difficult question is whether they agree to the kind of enforcement mechanism, the kind of monitoring mechanism that gives us confidence they won't violate the deal in the future." So the president's cabinet meeting is set for 11 a.m., and we do expect to see the president on camera.
Spanish police have just raided Prime Minister Pedro Sanchez's Socialist Party headquarters to gather documents regarding illegal financing of the socialists. That sounds like a pretty big deal. Eesh. Trump has just exposed Joe Biden for suing the DOJ to stop the release of... Yeah, that's right. Stop the release of the audio recordings relating to the special counsel investigation. I think including the probe into the AutoPen stuff. Okay, presiding judge has capitulated to Comey's demand for a 3-month delay, granting him a new October 21st trial date. Yeah. Saw that one. Zelensky asked Trump for air defense munitions, according to a letter seen by the AFP. No surprise there. Federal judge privately reprimanded for having extramarital sex in the chambers with a police officer. Well, at least it wasn't with an inmate. Okay. Oh yeah, last night, what do we got? U.S. Senate. Oof. Trump endorsed, won 8 out of 8 in the Senate and 101 out of 101 in the House. Oh, and 8 out of 8 for governor. Ah, dang.
Like dumb people, and I said, you know, I'm knocking some of these Democrats. They're really like dumb people. And I said, you know, they should be called Democrats. It's only a 1-letter change. Think of it. No E, and you put a U in. They're Democrats. I'm knocking some of these Democrats.
He's such a boomer. And I love it.
They're really like dumb people. And I said, you know, they should be called Democrats. It's only a 1-letter change.
Bless his heart. I love it. That's great. Oh boy. Pope Leo was shown Ferrari's first fully electric vehicle, the Ferrari Luce. It is an interesting fork in the design language. We'll go with that. I'm not saying I would turn one down. I'd take it. But if I had my pick of 406, how many thousand? I got that wrong. $640,000 cars. It wouldn't be this one.
Four-door Ferrari? First.
I'm sure it's very nice, but no.
Federal work is planning to make it standard procedure for federal workers to sign non-disclosure agreements, NDAs. The stated goal is to stop leaks of confidential government information. Fox News reviewed a copy of a draft notice posted to the federal registrar by the Office of Personnel Management. That is the agency that oversees the federal workforce. The draft says individual agencies can opt out of the NDAs. Federal workers already have whistleblower protections, setting up a potential legal battle between federal workers who do not wish to sign and agency heads that want the opposite.
Oh yeah, a bunch of Chinese in camo caught on the border. Eagle Pass, Texas. Look at that. Decked out in camo. Creepy. What y'all doing? Governor Gavin Newsom doesn't want you to know a California inmate is on trial right now for grooming a 12-year-old on his taxpayer-funded tablet. Oh. Wow, like a literal inmate that did it from prison, from jail.
The House says its fraud task force has already rooted out more than $32 billion worth of fraud. Now, House Republicans are targeting a shocking case of potential waste in California. A recent report we brought you first right here on America Reports claims that state spent nearly $190 million on tablets for prison inmates, including death row killers and child
Why?
predators, with some allegations that those inmates even used them to groom kids online.
House Oversight Chairman James Comer is demanding answers from Governor Gavin Newsom and asking whether federal tax dollars were used. He'll join us, and he joins us now. Thank you, sir. So we're keeping.
How does that even like, how are they not like monitored at like every second of their use?
Look at the White House here. As soon as we see the vice president, we'll head to the White House lab.
Jeez, man. Cabinet meeting today at the White House, right? And not at Camp David. So I guess they had cameras for part of it. At least part of it. I don't know about the whole thing.
I'm thrilled to welcome everyone to the 12th cabinet meeting of our administration, and we're doing something that no administration's ever done. We're always letting the press join us because we're very open and transparent. We like the word transparent, but we're more transparent than any administration in history. No, to the best of my knowledge, press has never been invited ever to a cabinet meeting for any reason at all. And it's an honor to have you. This team has achieved more than most other administrations achieve in 8 years. I'm thrilled to welcome everyone to the 12th cabinet meeting of our...
That's it. All right.
But again, people don't want to write about it with Iran. Iran is very much intent. They want very much to make a deal. So far, they haven't gotten there. We're not satisfied with it, but now we will be. We will be either that or we'll have to just finish the job. But their Navy is gone, as I've said 1,000 times. Their Navy is gone. Their Air Force is gone. Everything's gone, and they're negotiating on fumes. But we'll see what happens. Maybe we have to go back and finish it. Maybe we don't. Right now, I mean, you can speak to Steve Witkoff and Jared. They're doing a good job. But right now, I think it looks like they want to just make a deal. They want to. They have, I don't think they have a choice. They're just going back to the internet because they're getting clobbered. Their economy is in free fall. They have 250% inflation. Their money has no value. Their whole economic system is broken down. They thought they were going to outweight me. You know, we'll outweight him. He's got the midterms. I don't care about the midterms. Look what happened last night. That was the prelude to the midterms. People understand it. They know that, very simple, Iran cannot have a nuclear weapon. I'm doing that for the world. I'm not doing it just for us. And we've had great support from other nations, by the way. We don't need it at all, but we've had great support from other nations. The problem is you always get the support when you don't need it. When you need it, you don't get the support. With Operation Epic Fury, our warriors are ensuring that the world's #1 state sponsor of terror never obtains a nuclear weapon, and they won't.
Okay.
Leadership of Vice President J.D. Vance, very proud of this. The White House Task Force to eliminate fraud is waging war on waste, fraud, theft, and abuse like nobody's ever seen before. He looks like Elliot Ness. Do you ever see Elliot Ness? I'm telling you, the guys that are up there are all central casting.
Oh, what's that freaking movie? Oh, man. Great movie about him from the 90s.
Standing behind what a
Oh, it'll come to me in a bit.
group of people. No, it looks like a movie. I'm going to make a movie out of it, I think. And they're finding billions and billions and billions of dollars. And I just said, that's good. He said, you haven't seen anything yet. Just said that. And,
The Untouchables?
He does really great. We'll have a balanced budget without having to do anything. This is the kind.
It was off by a few years. 80s. Is it really the 80s? Wow. Yeah. Young Kevin Costner. Excellent film. So good.
The money they stole. They're crooks. They're thieves. And I hope that Todd is going to do a real job. These are crooked people. These are thieves. This isn't like a mistake. Just talking about one person, he got hundreds of thousands, millions of dollars for securing one man, for taking care of one elderly man. He was a service. He got paid millions of dollars for taking care of one man. Total crook. They're all crooks. The Somalians, what they've done to Minnesota, the Somalians, they're crooked as hell. Ilhan Omar, crooked as hell. They're all crooks. And we got them. We got them. Now we're putting the clamps on. But boy, I tell you, that's an impressive group of guys that you have behind you. I was watching that, and a couple of very strong women too. But I was watching that last night. I said, I'm proud of you guys. In 2 months, we've exposed tens of billions of dollars of defrauded taxpayer money, prosecuted numerous fraudsters, Todd, and stopped billions of suspicious payments, very suspicious. Oh, you haven't seen anything yet? Well, you see, I'm getting reports from Todd, from JD. I've never seen anything like it. The kind of just hundreds of billions of dollars was stolen, and no other administration would do what we're doing. Just let it go. Everybody was getting rich. And I think we have a chance to save Social Security without doing anything to it by just the numbers of fraudulent people on Social Security, people that are 115 years old, 125 years old, getting payments. It's funny, I said, oh, do those payments get turned back? No, they accept them. Well, somebody's getting the payment. It's not a person that's 125 years old. But that's the least of it. The numbers that we're finding out, we have great people at Social Security. We're going to make our Social Security so strong, so good that you'd never see anything like it. We're going to protect. I said right from the beginning, we're going to protect our people in Social Security. If the Democrats ever got in, you wouldn't have Social Security would be bankrupt. People wouldn't be getting anything. Last week, they took down 2 of the largest Medicaid fraud cases in Minnesota history, as well as the largest autism fraud case ever charged by the federal government. You saw that with millions of dollars just being stolen. Everybody had autism. Everybody had autism, they said. It was incredible, actually. And I mean, I've just seen I see what they're doing. You haven't seen anything yet. So congratulations, JD. Be vicious like they are. They're violent people. They're violent, vicious scum.
Mm-hmm.
Gratitude to our I want to express our tremendous gratitude to our outgoing Director of National Intelligence, Tulsi Gabbard, who's a terrific person, actually. Come up with some findings that were pretty good. And Tulsi's worked tirelessly to restore trust and focus on the intelligence and with the intelligence community. They all respected her. They listened to her. She gave us leads that were pretty much, people thought they were dead and they weren't dead. They were right there. And she was able to expose a lot of things that we used at the FBI with Cash and with Todd and with JD and everybody else. It was amazing. She dramatically reformed the Office of Director of National Intelligence and cutting the staff by 40%, and she prevented countless terrorists and cartel members from entering the United States. She exposed mountains of evidence related to the Russia hoax, probably the greatest hoax in the history of our country. Although, when you look at the fraud coming out, there's a lot of them. I mean, honestly, there's a lot of them, but the Russia hoax, a great hoax, a very dangerous hoax too, and revoked security clearances of officials involved, and she declassified numerous historic documents of special public interest, including related to the JFK and RFK assassinations, which everybody wanted to see, and we're now releasing a lot of things having to do with space. You know, it's people are very interested in it. It actually became the #1 topic. We're releasing a lot of information having to do with extraterrestrial things, and people are totally fascinated by it. It's amazing.
Things?
I wasn't sure if they would.
That was great.
Enjoy it. It's literally trending #1. Can you believe it? So a lot of people out there are like it, but we're releasing all of that information. And Tulsi, we're praying for you and for your husband. Her husband's not feeling great, but he's going to feel great soon. You're going to get him better. And he's a wonderful guy. So just say hello and thank you for the great work you've done. We appreciate it. Thank you very much.
all, thank you for your leadership, sir, and for making it possible. I often find in the Fraud Task Force that there sometimes are barriers that we need to break down, agencies that need to coordinate, and I'll come to the president and say, Mr. President, I need your permission to do, they'll say, for what? For the Fraud Task Force, and he'll cut me off and say, yes, go do it. So the fact that we have dedicated presidential leadership is really what's made this possible, because it does require, we've got great people around the table, but sometimes these agencies don't know how to work together at the lower level, and that's one of the things we've had to turn on and force with the Fraud Task Force. So I want to shout out just a few all-stars here. Linda at the Department of Education has been amazing at finding student loan fraud. You've got people who are either illegal aliens or aren't even actually real human beings who are getting hundreds of millions of dollars from the Department of Education for student loans. We have cut that off. We found a lot. We're going to find a lot more. Scott at HUD has been amazing, because a lot of the fraud that we see is housing fraud, people claiming benefits that they're not entitled to, or again, sir, sometimes completely made up people who exist purely to collect fraudulent money from the American taxpayer. Brooke at the Department of Agriculture, something I had no idea until I started this work, sir, that we send hundreds of billions of dollars to the states to administer the food stamp program. The federal government has no insight into whether those food stamps are going to people who are legally entitled or whether those people actually even exist. And so we're working on a number of mechanisms to actually force the states to verify that the people who receive these benefits are actually entitled to them. And I could go down the list. I've gotten a lot of support from a lot of people in this room. Bobby Kennedy and Dr. Oz have been particular all-stars on this, and Kim at H&HS. What they've done with the Medicaid fraud, we found tens of billions of dollars in Medicaid and Medicare fraud just from their hard work. We've cut that off, and yes, Mr. President, we're going to find a lot more. The final thing I want to say, Mr. President, and I know that Todd maybe has something to say about this as well, but I always try to remind the American people, and certainly remind the cabinet officials. By the way, Kelly at SBA has found tens of billions of dollars that were from fraudulent loans that were giving under the Biden administration, and we've now cut that off and recovered a lot of that money. So this has been a whole of government effort, Mr. President. The team really deserves a great deal of credit here. But the final point I want to make, sir, is I always try to remind the American people that fraud is fundamentally a crime with two victims. The most obvious victim are the American taxpayer. They pay their taxes, they expect the money to go where it should go, and that's not happening because of the fraudsters. But there are also victims, people who benefit from these programs that don't exist if we're not actually taking care of the fraud issue. And let me just give one example to build on something you said earlier, sir. One of the people that Todd just prosecuted was a person who was collecting a lot of money from the American taxpayer to take care of elderly citizens, people who worked their entire lives, paid their taxes, should have had dignity and nobility in old age, but it was deprived from them from fraudsters who say that they're taking care of them, who collect a check to take care of them, but then abuse and neglect these people. And particularly one man who died because he wasn't getting adequate care, and that guy was still collecting benefits to take care of a person who he had completely neglected. So not only do you have an American taxpayer who's paying into these programs, you have an elderly citizen deprived of his dignity because we're not going after the fraudsters. Well, now we are.
How much money did he get?
Sir, hundreds of thousands of dollars, maybe more than that, but we think that that exact type of fraud has been replayed all over our country. That particular case was outside of Minneapolis. We expect that there are tens of thousands of people who are collecting fraudulent money to take care of people, and they're not actually taking care of them. We're, of course, going to get to the root of as much of it as we can. But again, sir, it's been, I wouldn't say fun, because you find out how much people have been taken advantage of, but it's certainly very good and valuable work. So thank you for giving me the opportunity to do it.
Well, thank you very much.
Yes, sir.
All right.
To uncover fraud.
Todd Blanche here.
It's one thing to uncover fraud, which we've done, and that's part of it, but it's also prosecuting the bad guys that are doing it and stopping it from continuing. And that's where you have everybody in this room has inspector generals. And for many years, these really hardworking law enforcement members would identify fraud, and nobody did anything about it. DOJ prosecuted it, but spent a very little resources on that. So what we've done just in the past 51 days, over 400 law enforcement actions in this country related to major fraud. That's search warrants, that's arrests, that's convictions, that's indictments that are filed, and that's just 51 days. And it's not just the great prosecutors. It's the FBI agents, it's DHS and HSI agents. It's everybody in this room that has inspector generals that are now they have been freed up, and it's because of you. It's because of the vice president saying this is going to be a priority of what we are going to do. Not just the Department of Justice, even though we're the prosecutors that are putting bad guys in jail. It's also the law enforcement at every agency, FBI and DHS. And so we're already seeing results. We had a $1 billion fraud, a conviction at trial last week out of Florida. And this was an organization that was stealing from senior citizens in Florida, duping them. There were call centers set up in the Philippines, and they were duping them to buy medical equipment that they didn't need, that they would never get, and that the taxpayers paid for. And so that's a good win. We arrested 15 guys in Minnesota last week. The vice president mentioned one of them. These are people that are they're just stealing, and many of them are here illegally. And so you have people who are in this country illegally who are then taking advantage, and the vice president says something a lot that resonates with me. The generosity of the American people, the generosity of everybody in this room, the leadership, to take care of the people in this country that are that deserve it the most. Children who are supposed to get food at school, and you have men just stealing, taking that money, and so that's what we're focused on. We are standing up, as you know, Mr. President, you allowed us to stand up a new division at the Department of Justice. It's our entire existence of that division is to combat what we're talking about, and then every U.S. Attorney's office is now focused on it as well. So this is something that will result in a better place for every citizen in this country and save money, a lot of money, and also it's the right thing to do for our tax dollars, Mr. President.
Rubio now, okay.
First of all, the bottom line is Iran's never going to have a nuclear weapon. And if recent events have done anything, is just remind us once again that they are the world's leading sponsor of terrorism. And they can never have a nuclear weapon. Now, the president's preference, Mr. President, your preference is told us repeatedly, is always to negotiate these things and to figure out if you can have agreements. Diplomacy is always the first option. And we continue to work on that through your envoys, Mr. Woodcoff and Kushner and others, the vice president, who've been very involved. And if there's an agreement to be made, we want that to be made. I think there's been some progress and some interest, and we'll see over the next few hours and days whether progress could be made. I just want to remind everybody, Mr. President, you know this well, you have other options available to you if that doesn't work. But the bottom line is that we prefer the negotiated diplomatic route, and we're going to give it every chance to succeed. I know you're giving it every chance to succeed, Mr. President, but here's the bottom line, because I keep getting asked, what is this all about? It's very simple. Iran and these people in charge of Iran can never have a nuclear weapon, and they will never have a nuclear weapon, and they most certainly will not have one as long as you're President of the United States. On that point, it's very clear.
Over $29 billion that have now been canceled.
Lee Zeldin from the EPA canceled billions of dollars of wasteful spending. Good. We'll skip it though. Rubio.
Recent events have done anything is just remind us once again that they are the world's leading sponsor of terrorism, and they can never have a nuclear weapon. Now, the president's preference, Mr. President, your preference is told us repeatedly, is always to negotiate these things and to figure out if you can have agreements. Diplomacy is always the first option, and we continue to work on that through your envoys, Mr. Woodcoff and Kushner and others, the vice president, who've been very involved. And if there's an agreement to be made, we want that to be made. I think there's been some progress and some interest, and we'll see over the next few hours and days whether progress could be made. I just want to remind everybody, Mr. President, you know this well, you have other options available to you if that doesn't work. But the bottom line is that we prefer the negotiated diplomatic route, and we're going to give it every chance to succeed. I know you're giving it every chance to succeed, Mr. President, but here's the bottom line, because I keep getting asked, what is this all about? It's very simple. Iran and these people in charge of Iran can never have a nuclear weapon, and they will never have a nuclear weapon, and they most certainly will not have one as long as you're President of the United States. On that point, it's very clear. Just two quick things I want to touch upon. One, you touched upon the border and security. Part of securing our border is dealing with the people that are in this country unlawfully, many of whom do not want to go back to the country that they originally came from for a variety of reasons. Either we can't send them there or some judge ties us up. And one of the key things we have achieved is now 20 countries have signed third country national agreements, meaning these are safe countries where individuals who refuse to go back to their country of origin can be sent to that country instead. We've got
gotten 20 countries now around the world who have signed agreements that allow us to deport people to those places. What often happens when you go to the person who's here unlawfully and say, we're going to send you to this third country, is all of a sudden they decide they'd rather go back to their home country instead. So it gives the ability to enforce our laws, and we work very closely with the Department of Homeland Security on that front. Something else that I know is concerning people, because it's on the news, is Ebola. Our number one obligation, we're involved in foreign policy, but even our foreign policy, the number one priority of our foreign policy is to protect the American people. We cannot and will not allow any cases of Ebola to enter the United States. And so the State Department and other agencies represented here, the Centers for Disease Control, HHS, others, are working very, very hard to contain this crisis to the countries where it's currently located, particularly the Democratic Republic of the Congo. And so we've surged assistance to make sure that is being contained there. And obviously, multiple agencies involved here are also very involved in tracking people, just to make sure that nobody comes into this country that has Ebola and creates a problem for us. And we feel like we've got good efforts in place to do that, and Americans should feel assured that the President and his administration is doing everything we can to protect them on that front. My last point, you said I was all over the place. One of the places I stopped in last night was to initial the Trump Route for Prosperity in Armenia. This is a key linchpin of the peace deal that you were able to achieve between Armenia and Azerbaijan. And in addition to that, we also signed a critical minerals MOU with them and a strategic engagement one as well. So just a reminder of another war you helped to settle, Mr. President. But from that now we are seeing the emergence of a great new relationship with Armenia that really had grown stagnant for a very long period of time. So we're doing well on that front as well. Thank you.
And could I just ask you, Cuba and Venezuela, what's going on there?
Well, interesting. On Venezuela, that process continues, that three-phase process, of obviously stabilization, recovery, and transition. I would just say, just since January 3rd of this year, okay, and I think this number's right, and Chris or Doug can correct me on this, but I think over 10 million barrels of Venezuelan oil have been delivered to the United States since the 3rd of January. That industry is being professionalized for the first time ever. It's going to the benefit of the Venezuelan people. They are selling oil in the market at market rates. The money's going to an account in the United States, controlled and monitored by Treasury, audited by KPMG, and it's for the first time ever the money's not being stolen. It's going to the benefit of the Venezuelan people. Cuba's in a lot of trouble because, unfortunately for them, it's run by a bunch of incompetent communists. And being communist is bad. Being an incompetent communist is like the worst. And but the country's been taken over by this company called Gaesa that basically controls 70% of the economy. None of the money in that company goes to help the Cuban people. None of it. So we'll be talking to them. We'll be working on it. We want something good for the Cuban people, and hopefully there'll be a good outcome there for them. There needs to be. It's 90 miles from our shores. And having a failed state 90 miles from our shores is a threat to the national security of the United States.
Your leadership, we've opened up.
$4 billion of revenue to the Treasury. Lease sales.
Actually, your effort. So with that, I'm going to ask Pete to talk a little about some of our great success.
Yes, sir.
Including Venezuela, you might talk.
Absolutely, sir. I think actually your efforts on the reflecting pool are actually a great segue. If you look at Washington and Lincoln, these are two men that faced monumental tasks and stood up in historic fashion and delivered for the American people. And when you step back and look at 47 years of what Iran waged war against us and our people, there's only one man over the course of both presidency who has stood up and said they will never get a nuclear weapon, as Marco said. So whether it was Qasem Soleimani, whether it was scrapping the Obama deal that was going to give them a weapon, whether it was the 12-day war or Operation Midnight Hammer, you created the conditions to ensure the American people and the world are safeguarded from this generational threat. And so when you authorized Operation Epic Fury, just like you talked about with the reflecting pool, we didn't do the same old thing the way we'd done it in the past after Iraq and Afghanistan Afghanistan, the way we waged wars. Instead, you said we're going to do this smart, we're going to do it overwhelming, we're going to use maximum lethality, and we're going to bring them to their knees. And so whether it's their Navy that's at the bottom of the Persian Gulf, their Air Force, their air defenses, or their defense industrial base, they may have missiles, but they can't build more right now, and they can't build more drones right now, and they can't build more ships. And so they came and cried uncle to talk, which Steve and Jared and the Vice President and others are doing so ably. And during that time, we put in a world-class blockade, and they haven't been able to bring anything in or anything out from Iranian ports. And we know from the intel that their economy is hurting big time because that is their lifeblood. And again, bringing them to the table. So whether it is through the efforts of your negotiators that they ensure that they never have a nuclear weapon, or we have to go back to the War Department to finish the job that way, we're prepared to do that. And I think even our reach on the dark fleet of Iranian tankers, no Iranian tanker around the globe is safe. And we've seen seizures all around the globe, again, choking off their economic lifeblood. But all of this is possible, Mr. President, thanks to the investments that you've made in this department, firing on all cylinders. For the second year in a row, we're at historic recruitment rates. Last year, we said that here. This year, we beat it even faster. The American people are excited about what you're bringing to our department. Our defense industrial base, $50 billion in private investments because of the meetings you've held. Defense manufacturers are investing in new plants and new manufacturing, new production lines, so that we're getting weapons faster than ever. And then the $1.5 trillion that you've committed to the department going forward, that's 1 million American jobs, 1 million American manufacturing jobs. That's Golden Dome for America. That's F-47. That's B-21. That's $50 billion in drones. We're going to lead the world in drones, shaving years off of production of all of those, everything under budget and ahead of schedule, which is what the warfighter deserves. And we saw it. You mentioned Venezuela, Mr. President. You saw it on display there. Think of the fact that our Southcom commander just landed via helicopter at our embassy peacefully at the welcome of the Venezuelans because we're now partnering with them, hopefully, even on the counter-cartel mission as we secure our hemisphere. So we've secured that southwest border. We're going to war with the cartels through the America's Counter-Cartel Coalition. Venezuela is a big part of securing our energy future and defending the homeland. And then I just want to note one more thing to give you a sense of how committed this president is. Maybe a year ago, he heard the call of Nigerian Christians who were being targeted and killed by ISIS in Nigeria. And he said, Pete, I want the War Department to focus on ensuring that we do everything we can to protect those Christians. Partnerships like that can take time behind the scenes, but he never wavered on it. And we got the assets there. And over the last month, and there hasn't been much coverage of this, we killed ISIS #2 in Nigeria, who is most responsible for killing Christians and trying to target the U.S. homeland, and have since, because of the intel we gathered, killed hundreds of ISIS members who were targeting and killing Christians in Nigeria, creating a whole new opportunity there. So there's a lot of things we do that the media pays attention to, and a lot of things that the president empowers the department to do on behalf of the American people that he deserves great credit for.
You have made us a nation of builders again. You're leading us to the greatest economy that the world has ever known. And I see that every week as I travel this country, main streets across dozens of states, from Alaska to Maine. I've been in many of those states 2 or 3 times. I hear it everywhere I go. Please thank the president for putting us back on track. They thank you. They love you. They want more of what we're doing: tax cuts, deregulation, fair trade, energy dominance. Small businesses are spring-loaded, and we see that in the jobs numbers. In the last 2 months alone, we've created over 300,000 private sector jobs in this country. Most jobs are created by small businesses, 2 out of 3. And small businesses, as you know, make up 99% of all businesses in this country and account for half of our GDP. So when that part of the economy is finally working again, they've gotten out from $5 trillion of regulation that the Biden administration put on hardworking small businesses. They penalized growth, investment, hard work, and success. But thanks to the working family tax cuts that every single Democrat voted against, hardworking families, the welders, the waitresses that I meet on factory floors across this country, from Pennsylvania to New Mexico, where I'll be tomorrow. Brooke and I are going to Arizona tonight. So we see this everywhere we go. It's one of the most underreported stories in the media. Main Street is back, and that's because America first. I'll tell you the other thing about fraud. Small businesses are particularly hurt by the fraud because they're some of our
It'll be back when that's really handled.
biggest taxpayers in the country, and they show up every day. They work hard to provide for their employees, to build their businesses. They're doing it the honest way, and they see fraudsters taking from the American people. It's taxpayer money. And so you think about, at the SBA, we found $200 billion in fraudulent PPP loans that the Biden administration tried to hide and forgive and sweep under the rug. We've turned the first $22 billion of that over to Treasury for collections and to DOJ for prosecution. Our Inspector General is already announcing that people are going to jail. There are jail sentences now being served. We've announced that 140,000 people have been barred from ever getting SBA loans again.
Sorry, gotta divert. Man, oh man, that's pretty wild. Check this out. FBI arrests senior CIA official after uncovering over $40 million in gold bars and $2 million in cash at his Virginia home. Where in Virginia? I'd love to know. If it's close, but it's probably near McLean. In McLean. Tell me more. Was he friends with Gold Bar Bob? Had a top secret security clearance. Oh, here we go.
How many gold bars? That $40 million worth of gold
$40 million
bars in his home. If you're wondering how many gold bars that is, the court document says it's about 308. What my team here at NBC News, Dan DeLuce and Gary Grumbach, and I found is that that man was not just an employee of any agency. He was a high-level official with top secret clearance in the CIA, and that he not only lied about what he was doing with this money, but that allegedly he also lied about his background, said that he graduated from a college he did not attend, that he went to a graduate school he did not attend, and that he had a pilot's license that the FAA said he did not have. So he was arrested last week, and he is now in detention facing these charges of lying about his background and perhaps unknowingly embezzling American taxpayers' money. I want to read you a statement we just got in from the CIA saying that after a
fascinating
CIA internal investigation identified potential violations of the law, CIA Director John Ratcliffe referred the information to the FBI for a law enforcement investigation.
Oh, it came from Ratcliffe?
The FBI...
From an internal investigation? That's really something. Dude, that's crazy. So, this is nuts, honey. The FBI just arrested a former senior CIA officer.
What?
Lives in, I'm assuming, Northern Virginia.
I was gonna say.
With $40 million of gold bars and $2 million of cash in his home. 308 gold bars worth $40 million. Had a top secret security clearance.
Right.
Who knows? Who effing knows? He could have gotten it from the CIA for all we know.
That's true.
Like, especially considering the fact that this came from within, like, the CIA. It came from an internal investigation. How did they turn that up? Like,
wow.
It was either internal somewhere, buried in some kind of internal program, or they found out that he was working for a foreign entity.
Well, they often pay
Untraceable.
money that, yeah, exactly.
Mm-hmm.
Well,
Yep. Wow, man.
dang.
I want to know more. Who is this? What did he do? Like, what was his position? See if we can find more.
Stashing
CIA senior officer is accused of secretly stashing 300 gold bars in his house that he brushed off as work-related expenses, according to court documents, and 2 people familiar with his employment history. Julia Ainsley is joining us now with this exclusive reporting. Sorry, Julia. What?
I know. Hallie, when I first heard this tip, I didn't think it was real. And then the court documents spelled out that there was a man who was an employee of a government agency that was found with $40 million worth of gold bars in his home. If you're wondering how many gold bars that is, the court document says it's about 308. What my team here at NBC News, Dan DeLuce and Gary Grumbach and I found is that that man was not just an employee of any agency. He was a high-level official with top secret clearance in the CIA, and that he not only lied about what he was doing.
Whoa, dude.
Doing with this money, but that allegedly he also lied about his background, said that he graduated.
Is that hidden in the back of like a picture frame or something? What is that?
Lied about what he was doing with this money.
It's just like a shipping container for bars. I don't know.
But that allegedly he also lied about his background, said that he graduated from a college he did not attend, that he went to a graduate school he did not attend, and that he had a pilot's license that the FAA said he did not have. So he was arrested last week, and he is now in detention facing these charges of lying about his background and perhaps...
I bet that thing's fucking heavy as heck.
Knowingly.
How many are there? 100? Looks like 100. More. It's more than 100.
Embezzling American taxpayers' money.
120? Jeez. Well, what the heck? David Rush. Ah, there it is, Alexandria. Right around the corner. That's where the documents are filed anyway, but he must be in the area. Okay, let's see. The only charge lodged against Mr. Rush is that he inflated his academic credentials and obtained military leave pay worth tens of thousands of dollars. That doesn't get you 40 million in gold bars. The authorities say he falsely claimed to be a member of the Navy Reserve when he was discharged. These are just initial, just to open the door. Court papers describe Mr. Rush as a former senior executive service level employee at a U.S. government agency, the CIA. In a joint statement, CIA and FBI said the arrest occurred on May 19th, so not that long ago, just a week. CIA internal investigation identified potential violations of the law. Ratcliffe referred the information to the FBI for a law enforcement investigation. Lawyer for Mr. Rush declined to comment. Woman answering the phone at Mr. Rush's house hung up on a reporter. From last November to March, the court papers say, Mr. Rush asked for and received a significant quantity of foreign currency and tens of millions of dollars in gold bars for work-related expenses? Such as what? When the CIA conducted a review of where the gold and currency were stashed, the agency was unable to locate the gold bars or significant amounts of the foreign currency. On May 18th, FBI agents searched his home and found approximately 303 gold bars, each of them weighing 1 kilogram. Estimated value exceeded 40 million. Oh, also nearly 3 dozen luxury watches, many of them Rolexes, which can get really pricey. Some of the crazy watches, like 6 figures, like crazy shit. Interesting. Court papers do not indicate why Mr. Rush appears to have kept so much gold, not to mention $2 million in U.S. currency, in his home, or what work project could have required him to amass such wealth. Boy, that's a weird one, man. Okay, onward. More.
Too open to everybody. It's the strait's going to be open to everybody. It's
and who would control it?
International waters. Nobody's going to control it. We're going to watch over it. We'll watch over it, but nobody's going to control it. That's part of the negotiation that we have. They would like to control it. Nobody's going to control it. It's international waters, and Oman will behave just like everybody else, so we'll have to blow them up. They understand that. They'll be fine. The strait's. So I'm very proud of D.C. because when we came here a little more than a year ago, it was a very dangerous place, and now it's a very safe place. It's been incredible what's happened as you see the crime numbers. We had restaurants closing up, and nobody wanted to go to a restaurant. They were afraid to walk to work. It was very, very dangerous place, very unsafe. And now it's a very safe place. We brought in the National Guard. We worked with Cash and the FBI, and Janine is doing fantastically, and Todd and everybody. And it's now a very safe city, and people are pouring in, and you see the grass is all beautiful. We put a lot of new grass in because, like people, grass has a life too. And this grass, it was about a long time. But the waterfalls we talked about and the fountains are. Most of them are in the final stages or fixed. People are writing me letters. People are talking about it. We have some of the most beautiful fountains in the world, and there wasn't one, not one, that worked.
It's a disaster. The city is falling apart. It's thankfully looking nice and clean again. It's beautiful.
29. Out of the 29, not one was worked, in addition to the reflecting pool.
Isn't that insane?
That was the big one of them all, but that was a disaster. So with all of that, and this place is looking beautiful. I rode through it yesterday. The fences are down. The homeless aren't staying here any longer. We're helping them out, but we're not, we just can't have them in the nation's capital. And
now that he mentions it, I haven't seen the usuals out on the little on-ramps on the exits coming into DC, where they always hang out on this big grassy kind of plains out there that are hard for cops to park and access. They like to find a nice little spot like that right off the highway and just chill there. But I haven't seen them there lately at all.
When foreign dignitaries come in, they're saying the first thing they say to me, this place has really changed.
It literally used to be what welcomed you to the city, like homeless encampments. It was crazy.
So it was going down. Our whole country was going down, just like D.C. was going down. And as you know, the restaurants were closing up. There weren't very many restaurants, and now they're opening up. You can't get a space. And everyone's going out to dinner, and they're safe. And we have the national security, and we have the National Guard, and we're going to keep them. I want to, by the way, just in case I mentioned, keep them. And don't lower the number either. Absolutely. Somebody said, are there less? I said, I hope not, but don't lower the number if you don't mind, okay?
We're going to surge this summer, too.
Yeah. They look great. You know what? They give people... We took out 5,000 criminals, hardcore criminals. By the way, 90% of the crime is calculated. They count 2% of the people do 90% of the crime. That's a great number. Because when you get rid of 2% you can get rid of. 90% you can't get rid of 2%. Yep. So 2% create 90% of the crime.
Absolutely.
91% actually, to be exact. And we moved 5,000 people, Todd, out of here. These are career criminals. Many of them came over from the last administration through the open border, the ridiculous open border. No vetting. Nobody knew who they were. They came out of prisons. They came out of they're drug dealers.
Just how they like it.
There were people from mental institutions. And Washington, D.C. is now a safe and beautiful place. And it's only going to get more beautiful. Yeah, please.
Is the U.S. considering easing sanctions on Iran to allow Iran to sell its crude to the market?
Is the U.S. considering easing sanctions on Iran to allow Iran to sell its crude to market?
No, we're not talking about any easing of sanctions or giving money. No sanctions, no money, no nothing. We have control of money that they claim is theirs. We'll keep control of that money. And when they behave properly and when they do what's right, we'll let them have their money. But right now, we're not doing that. And it's not, one thing is not contingent on the other.
Is the U.S. considering easing sanctions on Iran?
Primary urgency I have, I said, I'll tell you the primary urgency I have, I said this, it wasn't covered properly, but the primary urgency is that we can't let Iran have a nuclear weapon. But at the same time, we have a tremendous amount of oil, gas, coal. We have tremendous amounts of energy. We're blessed with something very special. Those prices are going to come down. They're going to come down fast. I think that you'll see, actually, Todd, I think you're going to see lower prices that we had even before we did this. Now, I knew there'd be an increase. I said, we have a choice. We don't have to do anything in 2 years or 1 year or 2 months, because Iran would have had, if we didn't hit them with the B-2 bombers, Iran would have had a nuclear weapon within 2 weeks from that date, because they were ready to go. And if they had a nuclear weapon, it would have been used already. It also would have been used had I not terminated the Obama deal, the Iran nuclear deal, as we call it. That was in my first term. Had I not terminated that, they would have had a nuclear weapon a long time ago. I would say it was a guarantee that it would have been used, and it would have blown up Israel. It would have blown up the entire Middle East, and that's never going to happen. Yep.
This radical left Democrats' priorities when they decide to go out and protest a detention center.
New Jersey ICE. This Secretary Markwayne Mullin.
We're housing rapists, child predators, murderers, drug dealers, and they choose Memorial Day of all the time to go protest something.
Yep.
That they say that that it's because they're on a hunger strike when there was only a handful of individuals that was refusing to eat because they want their ethnic group or their ethnic right food.
Oh no, they won't get tacos.
They go back to their country and get whatever food they want.
How about that?
The fact is, we're giving them the calories they want. This isn't Holiday Inn. We're giving them sanitation. But for the Democrats and the governor, like Governor Sherrill and Senator Kim and Senator Booker, to go out and do something like this of all the days is very frustrating. And we see Antifa signs are literally out there. The local police literally refusing to respond. They barricade it, not allowing our employees to come in and out. ICE has to go out there, remove the barricade, and then you have one of the senators complain because he got splattered with a pepper ball. I'm sorry, you probably shouldn't have been there.
Yeah, that moron. What's his name?
They do. That's well. I think we're doing very well. I think are starting to give us the things that they have to give us, and if they do, that's great. And if they won't, then the man on my left is going to finish them off.
Is there a time frame in your mind?
What?
Is there a time frame in your mind for?
I mean, it happens quickly. The problem is every time I mention a time frame, for instance, I see.
That's how they get you.
We've been doing this for a few months. Vietnam lasted 19 years. Korea lasted 8 years. Afghanistan lasted many years. They were all many, many years, and we're into it for a few months. And I read about you people like you. What's taking so long? But we're in it. We lost between two big wars, Venezuela and Iran. We lost 13 souls, 13 great people. Met the parents, great people. And it's a terrible thing, but 13. If you look at the war casualties and the deaths in wars from Vietnam and all that, they lost hundreds of thousands of people in numerous of these wars. We're very cognizant of that. We want to lose very few. We want very few to be injured. We're very careful. But war is war. War is dangerous, but we've lost 13. I saw the Democrats took an ad putting in the 13 people that were lost. Now, when you look at hundreds of thousands of people that were lost in the Middle East, Iraq, all the different wars we were in, we have done an amazing job. With that being said, I hate to lose 13. I hate to lose one, but we've been very capable. I mean, when you think of it, we took over Venezuela in one day. We have done a similar job, but we said, well, give them a little chance at the request of somebody that we greatly respect from Pakistan, the Field Marshal and the Prime Minister. They've been great. They asked us, would we pause the war for a little while because they'd like to do so. We'll do that. But we had them beat. They're, no better now. We could close that out very quickly. If we can do it in a different way, that'd be good. If we get everything we want, but we could close that out very, very quickly, and we may have to. I don't think so, but we may have to.
I wonder what that means.
Well, I was going to go, and I was invited to. I was going to go on Wednesday, but they closed it out very quickly. And Jim Dolan's a great guy. He's, as you know, owns and in charge of Madison Square Garden. He's having a good year. Boy, what a team! They win all their games. They have some great players. I think I'll be going to one of the games. I was invited by numerous people and Jim, and I think I'll be going. It's great to see it. The Knicks have really suffered for years. They're doing right now. I was invited to. I was going to go on Wednesday, but they closed it out very quick.
To what? Oh, Knicks game? Okay.
Might be contingent. So the Iran deal might be contingent on more countries joining.
I don't know. I don't want to say that. I'm not going to give you, what's contingent and what's not. I can say that we can make a good deal right now, but maybe not a great deal. And if it's not a great deal, we're not making it. Because we can make a great deal with this guy right here. And but it's it's a lot nastier. Probably wouldn't go as quickly. We wouldn't be talking about it as quickly, but it would be foolproof. But I think we're doing very well, Steve. I think we're doing pretty well in terms of the negotiation. But we'll see. If it's not going to be a real deal, because Obama had that horrible JCPOA, whatever it was the worst deal. It was a path for Iran to have a nuclear weapon very quickly. Years ago, they would have had a nuclear weapon. We might not be here talking about it right now. They would have had a nuclear weapon. And frankly, Obama picked the wrong country. He should have picked another country. I won't tell you what it was. But he picked the wrong country when he picked Iran.
What?
But we have things understood now with Iran. It's been nasty. They've lost their
Wonder what that was all about.
leaders. They've lost. And it really is regime change. We didn't set out for regime change. But by the fact that we're dealing with a totally different group of people than we were at the beginning. And frankly, I find them to be much more reasonable. I actually find them to be smarter, but I find them to be much more reasonable. This is regime change. One regime is gone, another regime is gone, we're dealing with the third. Pieces of it, because some of them are gone too. But I think we're doing very well, Steve. I think we're doing pretty well in terms of the negotiation, but we'll see. Whatever it was the worst deal. It was a path for Iran, because Obama had that horrible JCPOA, whatever it was the worst deal. It was a path for Iran to have a nuclear weapon very quickly. Years ago, they would have had a nuclear weapon. We might not be here talking about it right now. They would have had a nuclear weapon. And frankly, Obama picked the wrong country. He should have picked another.
That would seem to imply that another country was being floated as a possibility. I should have picked another country.
And frankly, Obama picked the wrong country. He should have picked another country. I won't tell you what it was. But he picked the wrong country when he picked Iran. But we have things understood now with Iran. It's been nasty. They've lost their...
No wonder. Interesting. Oh boy. They got the body cam footage and audio from officers going to interview this guy's wife, former Major General guy in McCasland.
So I called in trying to get hold of everyone. I'm actually
Guy that went missing a few months back.
walking into his favorite coffee shop right now to see if they've seen him. So I work with Mr. McCaslin on the Kirtland Partnership. He's a board member. He's a retired general with Air Force Research Lab.
Okay.
And we had dinner Thursday evening at Cervantes off of Gibson
Okay.
at 6 o'clock.
Interesting.
I was shocked this morning when I saw the alert, because what I noticed Thursday evening is he wasn't
That's definitely interesting.
his usual self. He was kind of spacey and quiet.
Sounds like something happened there. So what?
And you know, that happens with people, so I didn't put anything with it.
Right.
He left in his vehicle, and then I called this morning. I called security forces out at Kirtland just to ensure he hasn't used his card out there, and he hasn't. He has an access base, and they're going to keep monitoring that area. But from what I understand, well, let me tell you this first. So Thursday evening, he was wearing a blue and white striped collared shirt, button down.
Okay.
And he was wearing a little name tag, his KPC name tag. And so, from what I understand, is he left the house. His wife didn't take anything. Was on the running trail, and he was last seen at 11 o'clock yesterday.
Right. Right. Does he carry like a security clearance or anything like that?
He has a very classified security clearance. He was the head of Air Force Research Lab. To the point, the man's names are in the UFO documents that are fixed to be released.
Okay.
He's in that in-depth, so he has a very high security clearance.
Man.
Yeah.
I still think he killed himself or went off into hiding or something. But I guess the big question is why? What happened? Sounds like possibly something to do with that meeting. Like the Thursday before? Is that what you said? Yeah. Massive EBT and charity fraud exposed. Oh boy.
So right now we're in one of many stores in the Dominican Republic that are stocked with food paid for in the United States.
What?
With food stamps.
What?
Here on a boat in a blue barrel, put in these little bodega stores, sold here.
What?
And it's all being paid for by you, the American taxpayer.
Huh?
50-pound bags of rice that are going to get shipped back to Santo Domingo.
I'm seeing these big giant refrigerator boxes and 55-gallon barrel drums being filled up with food. There's just so much fraud going on in this
So these
one
fucking
city.
things, like, I guarantee you we didn't grow that shit here, so it gets shipped on a fucking boat from halfway across the world here, and then gets loaded again on a boat to go back to the shithole country?
Yeah, it's not even funny.
Food stamps were created
so that bodegas can sell it on our dime?
to help low-income American households put groceries on the table at home. The program cost American taxpayers over $100 billion in 2025 alone. But in cities like Lawrence, Massachusetts, a chunk of that money isn't feeding Americans at all. Food bought with your tax dollars at local markets that accept EBT, along with groceries picked up for free from food bank lines, gets loaded into barrels, driven to shipping companies, and sent overseas to the Dominican Republic, where it gets sold for profit in local markets. SNAP rules require that food stay in the household that bought it, but this fraud has been going on for years, and nobody seems to be talking about it. We spent weeks tracing the pipeline, from corner stores swiping EBT cards to vendors in Santo Domingo who told us exactly where their inventory comes from. We talked to a delivery driver in Lawrence, Massachusetts, who's been dropping off packages on these streets for over a decade and has been witnessing this fraud the entire time.
I'm John, and I've been working in this town of Lawrence, Massachusetts for a little over 11 years. I deliver products all day long, 6 days a week. I have about 35 stops a day where I interact with these people. Every day.
And when you say these people, we're talking Dominicans specifically.
Oh yeah, absolutely, yeah. Dominican people, yeah. I've been witnessing
Disgusting.
Dominican residents going to food bank lines.
How many other countries' peoples are doing this?
and collecting non-perishable goods and then packing it in barrels and in boxes, and then they ship it back to the Dominican Republic.
So how do you know for sure that the people are buying this food that they're shipping back with the food stamps or, you know, whatever other government assistance?
Some of them have openly told me and my wife that that's what they're doing. And then the other way is the math. The bag of rice that they buy here costs $30 for the 50-pound bag of rice, okay? That same bag of rice in the Dominican Republic costs $35. The only way you could justify that is if you got the rice for free.
So we're here at one of the main shipping companies in Lawrence, Massachusetts that ships food and other goods from here back to Santo Domingo in the Dominican Republic.
Crazy.
Look, and you can see, for example, right here, look at these. You got giant bags of rice. These are 50-pound bags of rice that are going to get shipped back to Santo Domingo. So, again, you could just imagine that makes no economic sense to do that. The cost of shipping these bags of rice and paying for them would be more than simply wiring the money back to Santo Domingo and then buying the rice there. But you can see this isn't a one-off. I mean, there's got to be at least right here at least 10 or more 50-pound bags of rice. And we were also told by the workers here that most of the boxes you see here are full of food, and if not full of food, it's food mixed with other goods.
And I'm going to take you by right now to show you one of the bodegas that they sell the barrels. So these barrels are being used specifically for shipping products out of the country. Like I said, they get the non-perishables, and here's all the barrels. Look at all the barrels.
Whoa, this is in front of a market right
here.
Oh
my gosh.
So they sell them. Now look, this is just one, right? Now we're gonna go do another corner store right over here.
Why is a meat market selling those barrels?
Because they buy them to ship out of the country. Here we go, more barrels at another bodega.
Crazy.
For sale.
What is the point?
The point is that they fill them up and then they ship it back to their home country. They're sending
What the hell, dude?
big giant jugs of cooking oil that cost $25, $30 here, same thing that they cost over there. So the only way that you'd be able to justify paying the shipping cost is if you got that for free. I've even seen them shipping cases of water.
What?
Why would you send water to an island unless you got it for free? Here's another one of these bodegas with these barrels. Now these barrels aren't trash cans. They're being used to ship the product.
We're here with Abigail, the wife of John. So could you sort of just explain very high level sort of like why you're able to see this fraud that's going on?
So I have to go into certain people's homes in order to assess them, take care of them. Many of them will have large boxes, large bins in their apartments full of the food that they give out at the pantries here. And when I ask them what it's for, they say they mail it back so it can either be given to their families there or be sold in the bodegas there.
And they tell you, they've told you this?
Yeah. Yeah, straight, yes. A lot of them will go to the doctor, claim an ailment so that they get a medication, and then they'll mail that medication as well back. Those meds are sold in the bodegas in Santo Domingo. When you go to Santo Domingo, supposedly the two places they say if you're gonna come to the United States are Lawrence and New York City. They go to each food pantry line on a different day, and they get all the non-perishables that they can, and they ship them all back. One patient I went to in particular, I had asked her daughter, I said, why are you sending so much food back to?
It was insane. There's like another 10 minutes of this left, so I'm gonna keep going, but like, what the hell? Alabama has just appealed to the Supreme Court to allow the new 6 Republican, 1 Democrat map to take effect after lower judges struck it down. The application for immediate stay goes directly to none other than Clarence Thomas. Yep. Wow. Neato. Huh. Oh man, it got crazy last night. Dear God.
For all these people who don't have criminal records, they could easily be returned to their families on.
You know what we could also do with them? We could also easily ship them the fuck home, like wherever they came from.
Alternative to detention, we're in Anklemont.
Rep Menendez.
They could easily be added here if ICE wanted to do that, but they
We can also easily deport them.
don't want to do that because, in my opinion, they're trying to break people inside this facility.
No, we're just trying to send them home where they belong.
Can I ask you what brings you out? What are you hoping to accomplish here?
Well, I'm Congressman Adriano Espaillat. Yeah, I'm a plaintiff to the lawsuit.
Yeah, okay.
That the Court
Excuse
of
me.
Appeals render a decision saying that the 12 plaintiffs, including myself, members of Congress, are allowed to come into any federal detention center, including a privately run one like this one, without prior notice and be able to inspect it, as the Constitution gives us the right to do. So I'm here.
Yeah, you guys have tried this before. Didn't go so well last time.
Which is a cargo terminal.
Oh, AOC wearing a hijab to celebrate a Muslim holiday in New York City with Zoran. Oh my gosh.
And
Mullen announces DHS is drawing up plans to block all international flights to sanctuary cities by ending customs screening there. Whoo, dang.
house today, Sean, and I said,
That's quite a move.
if they're going to not allow us to go out and arrest the worst of the worst, and then when we call for assistance at the facilities, that the street, it belongs to the city. If it belonged to us, we would take care of it, but it belongs to the city, and they're barricading our employees from coming in and out of the facility. Then why are we processing international flights into the airport there? And we are currently, which we're not initiating yet, but we're currently drawing up plans to say, listen, in these sanctuary cities where the local radical left Democrats aren't allowing us to do our job and enforce federal laws, then we shouldn't be processing international flights into their cities either, because they don't want us to enforce immigration, but they want us to process immigration at their facilities. Nothing about that makes sense to me.
Let me tell you something.
House today, Sean, and
Oh, creepy. Weird.
Political donor.
Listen to this one.
North Carolina's biggest political donor. After his arrest in a
North Carolina's biggest political donor, ex-billionaire who sought to have 50 children, 50, count them, with Aryan women.
North Carolina's biggest political donor. After his arrest in a bribery scheme, his Durham-based insurance empire fell apart. Well, last month, Wake County Judge Graham Shirley ordered Lindbergh to repay more than $500 million in ill-gotten gains. Today, Lindbergh is calling on Shirley to recuse himself from the case. He's accusing the judge of being biased and even criminal of the behavior in this case. We'll have full coverage of the hearing as it unfolds today online on WRAL.com. North Carolina's biggest political donor. After his arrest in a bribery.
Yeah, wow. That's a weird one. I want to know more about that. Top political donor, huh? Wonder who to. Says here he was, let's see, siphoning money, an insurance fraud scheme, stole money meant for retirees and policyholders, running a baby project to father as many as 50 children through a network of surrogacy and egg donation centers. Sounds a little familiar. Lindbergh specifically pursued women with blonde hair and blue eyes that former associates described as Aryan. 25 women have been tied to the operation, with some accusing Lindbergh of lying to them, saying the eggs would be donated to an anonymous couple, but instead he just used them for himself. Nice and creepy. Bloomberg also found that Lindbergh, father of 12, spent a lot of money to recruit women through yacht parties, luxury events, and matchmaking services. While operating these events, he would run surveillance that conducted background checks and monitor prospective romantic partners. Court filings revealed bizarre personal notes about living to the age of 120, longevity research, and cloning. Boy, all of that really, really sounds similar. A little bit familiar. Weird.
A nationwide. So after a record-long 88-day nationwide blackout, the Iranians are finally starting to regain internet access. Earlier this year, the Iranian government cut off access to the web as citizens ramped up large-scale anti-government protests. But the regime now turning the internet back on as pressure mounts from the United States to end the war and make a peace deal. Tens of millions of Iranian citizens are getting back online, but there are still
Let's
some
start seeing some info come out.
limiting what they can see about the detainment of individuals allegedly involved in the planning of those anti-regime protests.
Okay.
Lifelong Big fan. I think that's how the time.
NVIDIA plans to invest around $150 billion a year in Taiwan. Whew. Wow. Excuse me.
A Third Army Corps.
Senior commander told Reuters that Ukraine has a critical 6-month window to seize battlefield momentum from Russia and strengthen its position for peace talks, predicting a turning point in the war is close. Yeah, we've heard that for how many years now?
That is, they are
Oh, wow.
the worst land. It was known as COPA. They renamed it. And let's also go over something else. We have city-owned properties called NYCHA. They are the worst landlords that the city could ever ask for. But the most detrimental thing is they want to take this and fund this all through non-for-profits. Once the non-for-profits take over these buildings, this is multi-billion-dollar stuff we're talking about. We're talking about the New York City buildings. I mean, can you imagine? This is absolutely insane. Absolutely insane. But what I really want to see now, Sandra, there's going to be a real test and a real testimonial to see who stands up in my city council against this. Okay? Is my speaker of the city council going to do her job and realize this is a detriment, this will kill our city? Is she going to do her job and get everybody, the way they did when Eric Adams was in office? You know, when Eric Adams was in office, they found every little thing to knock him about. Now we've got this guy who's a straight-up communist pushing this forward, and I want to know, what are you going to do about it, my
Yeah. Crazy. All right. Well, I suppose that about does it for me. We're at the top of the hour, and Lauren's here. Hello.
Hi, how you doing?
Doing pretty good. How you been? Doing all right?
Oh, pretty good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, over the hump.
Yeah, good.
Back to his ornery self.
Yeah, oh, that's good to hear. Cool.
I'll talk
Amen.
a little bit about it. I was telling you, dude, we thought he was on the brink of death. I'm not even gonna lie. It was prepared for completely different news from their oncologist. He has completely done a turnaround. Like, I'm just shocked that he was on death's door, and he's back to wanting to mow yards. So
wow, good.
He's tough old guy. I'm telling you.
Nice.
I'm telling you, yeah, it was pretty big. I'll talk about it a little bit because I know maybe people have shared, but
You mean people are itching for an update, I'm sure.
Well, you know, we stay pretty private though, because most people y'all are great, but I mean, we do with some psychos out there once in a while. You sprinkle in a few of them, and it's enough to try to protect your family.
Yeah. Yep.
You know how it is.
Oh yeah, you know it. Yeah.
All right, man. Well, good to see you.
Yeah, back at you. Have a good show.
Thank you.
See you guys.